Hello and welcome. So, let's talk about beginner boxes. I'm Aziel, and beginner boxes are, or battle boxes, whichever one you prefer, are the ones that contain two factions, and they tend to be there to get, two people into whatever game that's part of. Like the leviathan we just had, Showdown of Retribution, and the Kings of War ones. Now, these are pretty good boxes, actually. Usually, they're some of the best value boxes you can buy for your game, and they can be done very well, and other times they can be done quite poorly. Now, there are a couple of things that I think that make a good box and what can heed a box, well, be a hindrance to a box. Now, first things it goes without saying is that they shouldn't be limited edition. Not saying they shouldn't have a limited edition version, but they shouldn't be limited edition, because what you're doing here is the company is saying that they only want a certain amount of people to buy this box, and that's it. And the problem with this comes with that is how quickly they sell out means that less people are going to buy them. And it's also kind of, again, stymieing people and not being able to get the new starter box and get, a friend into it or save money on an army because, they've all sold out. But I did say, limited edition versions are pretty cool, extra model and, a limited edition model. Like back in 7th, they did it with Dark Angels. You could have had a chaplain in there. So that's cool, okay? Or, a special edition book. It looks kind of cool. It's different from all the others. I got the Soul Wars limited edition box, and I still have the rulebook for that as well. I also got Dominion, and I still have both those rulebooks. So those are pretty cool, right? That's cool. But if you're going to do a limited edition version, don't do it a month prior to the normal drop, because once again you're literally saying certain people are special and they get to play the game before anyone else, and it can be off-putting, to be honest with you, and that's it. So that's the limited edition bit. Don't do that. Now, as it comes to army size, I wouldn't say it needs to be a full army. I mean, a good army, a decent sized one, but not like the starter box, like the combat patrols, the strike forces, some battle fleets for dystopian wars. It doesn't have to be a full army. It has to be a decent sized army, something that sort of shows you the ropes of each faction in the box. Good example of this was back in Dark Imperium days. That was actually pretty good, because in that you had your fast attack, you had your heavy support, and a decent HQ choice. So that was that's the sort of thing you need. You need to have a range where you can have a taste of what everything can do without having such a force that's going to stop you buying anything additionally. This box is meant to get you into the game, not get you in and stop it as well. So that's something else, and some companies do this really well. Okay. Mantic is probably one of the best for starter boxes for your players, because not only do they do, for two factions in one, they actually have 3 for Kings of War at the moment, and they're going to have 2 for Firefight, which means not only are you going to have the choice of whichever 2 factions, you're going to have the choice of which ones you want to do. Like, you've got the Storm in the Shires, which is Halflings and Rift Forged Orcs, or you could have the Sands of Ammon, which is actually one of my favourite ones, which has Empires of the Dust, and the Ogre Mercenaries. So yeah, you got this choice of not just what box they're producing out, but you have a choice of which faction you want to play as well. And you can discuss with a friend which ones you prefer. And you might not be able to pick your first favourite, or your friend might not be able to pick your first favourite, but you're going to pick an army which you actually will enjoy playing. This is just a fantastic. I like this idea. I think Mantic have done it. It's really hit the nail on the head. And of course, with Firefight, you've had Enforcers and Marauders in the last box. In the next box, it's Vermin and Forge Robbers. And here you go. And unfortunately, Games Workshop kind of done 3 boxes. One small, one medium, one large. But that's all Tyranids and Space Marines, and that's it. To further this as well, Dystopian Wars has 2 starter boxes as well. They've got the Sturgian Skies, and they've got, which is Imperium and the Crown. There's a lot of flight in that one, by the way. And they've got a Hunt for Prometheus, which is the Enlightened and the Union. So you've got 2 different boxes, same prices for each, and you can choose which one you want. And you have decent flip battle fleets for each one. So, you have a choice of which one you want to do. And if you want to do 2 armies or 2 factions, you have that option as well. So you don't have to buy 2, a battle fleet as well as that. So there you go. That's a couple of things I think should be done. So that's good ideas. And I think that's just fantastic, and that's the way it should. And like I said, they shouldn't be full armies. They should be armies that get you into the game, but want you to buy more on top. And a good example of this is actually Showdown and Retribution. Showdown and Retribution is Union versus Enlightened. You have Nikolai Tesla. You have a squad, kind of a proper squad of soldiers, Tesla bots, and you get a little bit of everything. You got like a half a posse plus, what could be considered a squad for Showdown and Retribution. On the other side is Enlightened, which is pretty much a full posse, but no additional soldiers. Now, this isn't just for them, because Old West Exodus, of course, is a more of a skirmish game, so it's based around the posses more than it is the actual, full armies. Not saying you can't do one, but that is where it's based on. That's the entire point of it. So when you do, which shows that one faction is shown like you can do this posse, and then there's the other faction which is showing, well, you have some other posse here, but you can also do larger things as well. And of course it includes vehicles, which is always a great starter. It's great for any starter box, and that's what makes it good, because you've got a little taste of everything there. You've got fast attack, you've got like a troop choice for one squad, for one side, and you have a full posse for another, and that's how it should be done. This is one of the reasons I love this game, and it's well worth anyone playing. And another thing, which of course it needs to look balanced. Yeah, these games can be hard to balance. I can understand this, because not only do you have different rules for each one, you also have the probability of the dice rolls as well. And yeah, I understand it can be hard, but it's got to look balanced. So even if you've got a box which has what looks like a large army, lots and lots and lots and lots of miniatures, and one army which is not so many miniatures but lots of big things and big faces, it looks good. It looks balanced. You see, well, these are obviously bigger and they're faster, so they're going to be harder to defeat than these lots of little men. Okay, that to me makes a lot of sense. That's one of my problems with Leviathan. It didn't look balanced. You had a very small Space Marine force. Yeah, you had Terminators in it, which are actually meant to be pretty badass, but compared to not only lots of small Terminators, Tyranids, you also had big Tyranids. So it looked very unbalanced. So if you had a friend going into it, they'd go, well, I don't want Space Marines if you're getting Tyranids, because look how what you're getting when that compared to me. And when a game does look unbalanced, it feels, to me, it always feels like I'm ripping someone off. I don't like it if I feel like I'm getting a better army, which is why I rarely ever split these boxes. I'll get the box, but I'll keep both armies for myself. I rarely split them, because I will feel like I'm just ripping someone off. I don't like it. Okay, so there you go. That's a couple of things that I think are good for a beginner box or a battle box. Now, here's some things I think are bad. Okay, first things first is terrain. Putting a terrain in one of these boxes is automatically a turn off for me. It's like, that is deliberately increasing the price of the box for no reason, because terrain can only be used where you are. It's not something you're going to take out with you. You can take the army with you, but you can't take the terrain. And the other one is keeping, if you're going to do multiple battle boxes, having the majority of those all the same side or the same faction. And we have seen this with Games Workshop, the worst. They are the worst for this, because they have put Space Marines in so many of those boxes. It's not even funny. Now, I like Age of Darkness. It's a fantastic box, and if you're playing Horus Heresy, or if you're not, even if you're not, it's a good box. But that means you had Horus. These are ones I can remember off by hand. You've had Horus Heresy. You've had the Leviathan box. You've had the 3 now smaller ones, the starter sets as well. You had the Tooth and Claw, which was Space Wolves and Gene Stealers. You also had the Space Wolves and Orcs one as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. And I was going to add the, you also had the Hexfire, which was 2 lots of space. It means you had Grey Knights and Thousand Suns in that one. So there you go. And so if you do that, you are literally just shoehorning your player base into doing a single faction. And that's it. So that's a bit of a but final one I think they should do. And this is something I've seen quite common. A lot of companies do this. Even Games Workshop do this quite a lot as well. And that is making the price of the battle box the price of one army. Like you've got 2 armies in there, but the price of it should be just about, or even a little bit more than one army. So you're getting a free army, basically. You're paying half price for an army. If you're splitting it, or if you're buying it for yourself, you are paying it, for your. You're basically getting a free army. That is something I believe should be true, because you are trying to get into the game. You want to see how good it is to play, and you don't want to, spend a lot of money on the single box. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video on what I think beginner battle boxes should look like and what makes them good. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Link to Wayland Games down below if you want to save some money on these. They do have, actually they've got the Some of Kings of War in at the moment for 60 quid. That's well worth it. That's £30 for each army. And I know they have the War in the Holds and the Storm in the Shires in there. So yeah, go pick them up. They're actually good boxes. Of course, Warhammer as well. So you can go and get that at some money off as well. And Showdown Retribution and Dystopian Wars at full price because they make it. And thank you. And of course, there's Forbidden Planet if you like comics. And there's my comics and my merchandise and my Patreon. But as always, treat yourself first. And I'll see you in the next one.